Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Awesome TCG Discussions. Told you video 2 was basically stop, pause, go, and that's basically what it's going to be. This video, we're going to focus on the ban list or errata unlimits, and kind of give my thoughts about each card that has been limited in the erratas, in my opinion. I kind of did a little bit in the ban list discussion video, but I wanted it to be more concentrated and focused here. So you can get more of my organized thoughts and thoughts of where it's been since the ban list has been dropped. So thwarting to 1. Honestly, thwarting to 1 feels really good. Like, thwarting only ever really felt oppressive to me when you were playing it in like Gogeta's, you know? Obviously, it was like a reoccurring battle card that if your opponent got rid of, like, in like almost any capacity, you know, it's still there. But the thing is if your thwarting dies, it can be recycled beyond a limit. So in a deck like, for example, SSG Trunks, which also could be one of the top black leaders now in the game, I just don't see a world where like thwarting at 1 is like a real hindrance, other than the fact that you may not see it as often as you would like. So honestly, it feels pretty good. Like I mentioned, and the band was just like, yeah, we out here, we in here. Yeah, we like that thwarting at 1. Feels good to draw it. It's basically going to be like the new black SCR. That everyone's going to run it. You know, even in like if you can tap black energy to overwhelm it for 1, you're going to run it. So Piccolo Unison, Descent of the King. I mean, there's not a lot for me to say about this that I haven't already said, and it should be banned. I don't think that the Unison should exist in the game, period. I said in my previous video it's still going to use 7, and here's why I think it's going to be banned. It's a lot like when Max C was at 1 in Yu-Gi-Oh! For the Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. The person that sees that Unison in the mirror, or, you know, in any matchup where it's teched at 1 and like you have a 3 or 4 split of another Unison, you know, the person that see it is just going to have an inherent advantage in some way. And so, like, this is probably the only card in the game that's ever been limited that I'm like, I don't think this card should be at 1. But yeah, and there's not much more for me to say about it than that. Onto our erratas. Good old Soul Striker got the stain on this list. So again, I said in the ban list video, but I'm gonna say it again here. Shout out to my boy Brandon. Shout out to my boy Ty. Both y'all have been blue players, and Soul Striker has been your go-to man last few sets. And yeah, it's dead. There's no redeeming Soul Striker. We're either moving on to the set 16 Super Saiyan God guy, or moving on to SS4 Vegeta, maybe SS3. I don't know, but either way, Soul Striker is finito, gone, not here, not living, not helpful, not good for anybody. So there's almost an argument that you shouldn't even play it. Yeah, you shouldn't play it at all in over the old leader, because the old leader, so I mean, other than the ability to draw on the front side, which doesn't entirely matter when you're probably using Self-Awaken engine pieces, Soul Striker, it's just too good. Having at 5 energy, your leader gaining 5k, being a 20k untap to draw card, is just really good. So, yeah. Not a lot to say about it, man. Like, it really sucks for Soul Striker fans. And the thing that I think is a little bit blindsiding about this is, while Soul Striker was like projected to be like best deck coming into set 16 format, it didn't win a single tournament, and it still got axed basically into irrelevance. So feels bad, man. Just feels real bad for all of them out there. This next errata, though, I have quite a lot to actually say about this. MVP getting errated to basically being played at like your 3rd turn. So the first is that massive rest in peace to everybody who basically dropped $400 to $500 on their copies of this card, and then this ban list came out. The second thing to note is that it's still a really broken card. An Invoker actually is probably going to make a comeback, I think, into the meta. And here's why. So with Gogeta Xeno basically being nixed, KP being nixed, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of like very like Stally-esque kind of techs that you can now play against other decks that are going to get you to your turn 3. I'm thinking like Topo. I'm like there's just lots of other cards that you could be playing. But here's why it's good. So Gogeta Xeno getting basically removed from the format, unless people are teching Fearless Fusion and Mono Saiyan Black Leaders, Vegeta can return, okay? That now that tap out on turn 3 doesn't feel necessarily as bad because it's not going to be as easy to remove as it previously was. Now looking at MVP, I could also see 2 to 3 copies of it being splashed along a 3 to 4 copy split of this Vegeta. Because essentially what ends up happening here is that if you run into a issue where you need Invoker, but you know your opponent's playing barrier removal that can easily get rid of the Vegeta, you still have an option to go to if you don't have a Vegeta. You have that combo power, which is something that Invoker really lacks outside of like Rival Seeker. And I really do feel that Invoker didn't just die or go back to its irrelevance. Because the strategy isn't linear anymore. Okay? So here's the scenario that I want to paint for you. Let's say for some reason you are playing against easy barrier removal. You play your Vegeta, they get rid of it. But in a defensive step or whatever, you've comboed that 17. You now don't have to commit 3 to a battle card, although it still probably would be best if you know that the barrier removal isn't just easily going to be played again to have the Vegeta on the board. But if it is, and you know that in your opponent's strategy, like literally if I play this Vegeta, I just basically tap 3 for nothing and I won't have Invoker. Now the 17 comes in, gives you that Invoker, and so long as you have a copy of 17, you basically can't do anything about it. The only thing that is tough about this errata in particular is that obviously you're committing those energy resources. But when I say turn 3, okay, just watch this. So at turn 3, you tap Vegeta, you awaken. So you go from 3 now to 2 energy, because you're going to awaken. 2 energy tapped. Then if you have like Bean in a super combo, whatever, you can go down to like 0 tapped, basically. Now, turn 4, when you like tap 3 for this 17, you're going to have 1 energy open. And depending on like what you use or what you have, what you're doing, 1 energy is going to come a lot in handy, okay? And so my point is that to reestablish it, MVP now gives you an alternate option to basically make it untouchable, where that Invoker can't be interacted with. And like, I still think that like MVP puts Invoker on the map, and that like people who are playing it, like Legends or whatever, they shouldn't step away from this. I think that like it would almost be a mistake too. And now what's really, really good though is that if your opponent for sure doesn't have good barrier removal, guess what? Homeboy Vegeta just gonna be living his best life out here. Yeah. And yeah. So like, I don't know. Like, I think that like, if you can play against a deck that like the Vegeta can stick, obviously it's broken, right? Like you get all your Invoker at 4 energy, you get to do what you need to do. So, and this is the last thing that I need to say about Invoker as a deck. MVP now offers a true consistent way to have it when the matchup was previously bad for it. And Invoker has a very good aggro kill turn if you go the more aggressive route with the Instinct Surpassed. Obviously Victory Strike. And the new Vegeta SCR. It's got really good control. It's got a strong game plan, and it has high finishing power. So I could see a world where Invoker is still really broken. And this conversation is like far from over about its relevance in the meta. So that's pretty much where like I stand with MVP. And it just has so many, the deck has so many good tech options against what we have in the meta that I think that like it's living its best life in a lot of ways. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video down below. I thought the erratas and limits were pretty good. I was a pretty big fan. Look forward to video 3. It should be following this one that has basically what I think of are top colors, top decks of other colors, I should say, and kind of like where set 17 is going to interject a little bit of that with blue, yellow, and green. I've already talked about black and red. I did that with the first video. But you know, we're just going to talk about the top decks of the other ones and where we go from here. And as always, thank you so much for watching. As always, this is Banlist Discussions sign off. I'll see you guys later. And enjoy set 17.